Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to our Bodhi Day Service. We are privileged to have with us guest minister Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji from the Southern Buddhist Amida Buddhist Temple. Thank you for being with us today, Sensei. Bodhi Day is a celebration. This is when the historical Siddhartha Gautama, born over 2,600 years ago in India, was enlightened and became Shakyamuni Buddha. We believe that the Buddha came to know about what causes suffering and unhappiness and what can be done about it. This was the special understanding or enlightenment that the Buddha received. Let us begin with a quiet meditation. Sit quietly and place your hands together in Gasho. Sensei will ring the bell to begin and end the meditation. the opening gatha, the Bodhi tree on page 140 in the white book. Standing for the threefold refuge on page 10 in the purple book. Difficult is it to receive a human form, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha, now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us, with sincerity and true reverence, take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take
refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units of true accord in harmony with all things.
The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Today our guest speaker is Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji. He has been a minister since 2014, and he is currently the resident minister at the Southern Alameda County Buddhist Church in Union City. Oh, it's moving to this first language. Okay. In addition, he teaches as an assistant professor in the Institute of Buddhist Studies in Berkeley, California.
Can't hear you, Donna.
Can you hear me now? How about now? No. Hello? There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Sensei graduated from the University of California at Berkeley with a bachelor's degree with a double major in philosophy and Japanese with a minor in Buddhism. Institute of Buddhist Studies at Berkeley, California with a master's in Buddhist Studies. Ryukoku University in Kyoto, Japan with a master's degree in Shin Buddhist Studies and completed the doctoral coursework at Reikuku University. He specializes in the areas of Japanese Buddhism and religion, translation of the Buddhist scripture, and Jodo Shinshu doctrine and ethics. Reverend Miyaji received his Tokuro and Kyoshi qualifications at the Honpa Hoanji School located in Kyoto, Japan. We will now listen to a Dharma message. Oh no, we're going to go ahead and chant. Today's sutra chanting will be led by Reverend Miyaji. Today's sutra chant will be Shoshenge on page 33 in the purple book.
資源名無案逆真剣兄弟狂気即応超絶合悪種一切全幕本部人門心如来偶税願仏言広大証芸者善人名分だりけみら仏本元年仏邪見教満楽修上信行十字人に南中市南昔インド祭天子論芸中華自治域思考書現代証拠聖書意如如来本西洋記釈迦如来両画線一種五妙難天寺優柔大自主統制質能在派無限戦絶大乗無情報召喚議事小安楽賢治南行六六新行異行指導楽北年弥陀仏本願自念即時入一上唯の上昇如来語応報大偶税音天神菩薩増論説奇妙無下光如来永修他ら見真実光線往生大誓願法有本願力栄光異道群上小一心非入不六大崩壊逸逆入大永修修六四蓮華創世界即昇信用精進入門農林現人図入生寺本寺法芸本師道蘭妙天師上皇蘭聖菩薩来三蔵主十条教凡上専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願方言猫ゆたり少女死人唯心人漠然本部新人法生じ生じ即涅槃一子無量光明道小宇宙上回復下同社結晶道南小唯明浄土活入万全自力円言宗円満特語感染症三部三神軽音語増末放滅動員一生増悪自偶税思案妙大小妙大全道独妙無所意公愛上三 今日一年相応の用意大と逆三人即少々市場が現進公開一大教返記安養会一切先祖終身反戦人法華二度正面入極重悪人唯勝物我薬剤摂取中煩悩証言水部権大部権上昇が本心元苦行仏教年民全幕本部に新宗教書公演集戦弱本願具悪性現代生自輪伝下ケチ義上位少子即入弱上無意な一詩人異様入愚教大人修士道上才無変合具上具悪同族自主具道心有意な心地高速説Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
We will now listen to a Dharma message from Reverend Miyaji.
Please join me, Gasho. Such beings are like people who, imbued with incense, bear its fragrance on their bodies. They may be called those adorned with the fragrance of light. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Enmanji Temple for the kind invitation to come speak here at the Bodhi Day Service at Enmanji. It's a great honor to be here. I love the drive coming up here, and I've been to this temple once before at a chicken teriyaki, I think, bazaar, and then Ken-san showed me kind of around the Hondo, and it's a beautiful Naiji, so you guys have a real treasure here. So Thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of today's service. So this is Bodhi Day, when we celebrate the day that the Buddha is said to have awakened underneath the Bodhi tree. We're taking time out of our schedules to recognize that this tradition began with Shakyamuni discovering, or maybe I should say rediscovering, the Buddha Dharma. And I say that because the Buddha Dharma is something that's always there. It's always been there since the beginningless past, as we say, and up until eternally to the far future. But in our world, 2,500 years ago, Shakyamuni Buddha was able to discover this teaching and share that for us today, which still exists to this day. So, we chanted Shoshinge, but this is a commentary that Shinna Shoni made. But sutras, the word sutra actually means string. Okay, and what that string is the string of the Buddha Dharma that continues on through the generations. So, as if you imagine, I guess maybe you could imagine these beads being like the generations down the line. And that the string connects all of these generations down with the Buddha Dharma. And so that is why we recite the sutra and do these sutra chanting when we have our services. Okay, that's the significance of that. So I'd like to shift gears a little bit, but I'm wondering if you might have ever had this happen to you, that you listen to a Dharma message, or you listen to some esteemed minister, not me, of course, some minister that gave a talk, and you're like, oh wow, that was a really good talk, or that was a really good example. But as soon as you walk out of the Hondo doors, right, you forget everything that was said to you, right? And so your spouse asks you, what was the service about? What was the Dharma message about? And you're like, I don't know. And you're trying to think about, they talked about having a good day. It was like a clear day or something. That's all you can remember, or some of the jokes perhaps that the minister said. But you can't remember the gist of the message. And so then your spouse accuses you of not listening, or sleeping during the message or the service, right? But actually that's a common phenomenon that occurs. And so actually during the time of Renyo Shonin, who is here on the left, immediate left here, the scroll of him, he lived during the 15th century of Japan. And one of his disciples, or a person who came to listen to his messages frequently, came to him with the same problem. He said, Sensei, I love your talks. Your talks are great. And I learn a lot from them when I'm sitting in the Hondo. But as soon as I walk out of the Hondo, I forget everything that you said. What should I do about this, right? And so Renyo Shonin kind of thinks a little while, and he says, your mind is like a basket, okay? Your mind is like a basket. And when you put water in this basket, all the water leaves the basket, okay? And so what you have to do is throw the basket in a tub of water. And so what he's essentially trying to say is that, yes, we do have a forgetful mind, but what's important to do is to continue to listen to the Buddha Dharma, okay? And when we continue to come and listen to the Buddha Dharma, we will eventually be able to hear the calling voice of the world of absolute truth. Okay, so this is how he responds to that question. Similarly, Shinna Shonin uses this phrase. It's called Zenko ni in Japanese. Zenko ni. And this Zen, I don't know if you are familiar with Japanese, but it comes one of the readings that you could read this is someru or somaru, which means to dye, dye your hair or dye your clothes or these kinds of things. So that's the Zen, and then ko is incense, fragrance. Okay, it means fragrance actually, and then nin is a person. So this Zenko ni is a person whom the fragrance of the Buddha's wisdom has completely soaked through this individual. Okay, and so that's what this Zenko ni uses or means. Okay? And then we use this phrase frequently. So in Buddhism, fragrance is a very important aspect of our tradition. You might have noticed that with the incense burning, right? This has been a tradition that has been done since time immemorial. Since the time that the living Buddha was around, we have been lighting incense, and we have been offering flowers and offering a candle for the light of the Buddha. The light, of course, meaning symbolizing wisdom. The flowers symbolizing compassion, also impermanence, but more importantly, compassion. And in this fragrance is symbolizing the Buddha Dharma that permeates throughout the 10 directions. And as it permeates, it leaves behind this sweet fragrance that we can enjoy together, right? All of us. And so that's the significance of this fragrance. And so, I remember my grandfather. He was a scholar in Buddhism, and he had all these books, And I remember he was always studying. Anyway, when he passed away, a lot of these books we had to kind of get rid of them because they were really old books, or they were kind of outdated and warped and these kinds of things. But I kept some of the books, right? And as I pulled one of the books off the shelf, I flipped the pages, right? And as soon as I flipped the pages, I could smell Oji-chan. I could smell his scent, right? It was weird. And as soon as I opened, after I opened this book, this is some time now. It's been about maybe 10 years or so after he has died. But it's been, the scent of that has been kind of soaked through the pages, right? And so I smell this, and I immediately remember Oji-chan, grandpa, right? And it's this very interesting phenomenon that takes place when we think about this fragrance and scent. You know, when you have your mom's, let's say, old lasagna recipe or some miso shiri recipe or something, and she's long gone, or perhaps your grandma, and you cook up that recipe and you smell that fragrance, right? You immediately remember your childhood days, you remember your mother, your grandmother, right? And so this fragrance has a very kind of important point or important role, I think, in Buddhism. And Buddhism is very quick to kind of identify this. So it is during these times then that we kind of remember that we are not alone through these kind of minor incidents in life, these episodes in our lives. We're being nurtured by the Buddha Dharma, but we have to kind of continue to listen to Amida Buddha's great compassion, this teaching, in order for it to kind of soak into our hearts and minds, in order for this to kind of guide our hearts and minds. I know it's hard to do this from time to time, but that's why I believe the Sangha is crucially important, where we kind of encourage each other along this journey as we go on this path together. We will get tired along the way. We might even grow disillusioned at times and might want to stop listening, but the Sangha pulls us back in. The Sangha gives us encouragement, and the Sangha is supposed to make us feel like we belong. So this teaching is not something that can provide any kind of instant gratification. If you're being told that, then that person's understanding of the Buddha Dharma is very superficial. This teaching takes a long time for it to kind of seep through our hearts and minds. So in addition to this fragrance that kind of seeps in our hearts and minds, I like to make one more point about this notion of fragrance. And this is a kind of a weird point, but what's very interesting about scent is that for some reason we can't smell ourselves, right? And it's very interesting. It's an interesting phenomenon. We can't smell ourselves. We can put like cologne on and these kinds of things, or maybe perhaps if you go to the gym, there's body odor, we can smell that. But in general, we don't have this notion of what I smell like. For example, when we go to someone's house, we can smell that scent, the family scent, right? It's not necessarily a good thing, or it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's a distinct scent, right? Is it not? Right? It's also somewhat influenced by our ethnicity too, right? If we have like certain ingredients in our kitchen cupboards or something like shoyu or mirin or something like that, right? Or like curry or these kinds of things, right? I get told that my house smells like incense, of course, right? Because I have obutsudan, right? And I light incense often. But nevertheless, each household kind of has this distinct scent. But if you ask me what my house smells like, I wouldn't be able to explain that to you. I don't know what my house smells like, You would have to ask someone else. It's a really interesting phenomenon. So we can't smell ourselves, and I'd like to, but we can smell other people's fragrance, okay? And to continue on this, I'd like to give another example. And this is kind of gross, but it's kind of like bad breath, halitosis. But allow me to explain, bear with me. Other people might say that your breath smells, right? or you can smell bad breath from other people. But when I go like this, and I smell myself, I always think, it's not that bad, right? It can't be that bad. but to people around me, it might be terrible, right? And that it's reeking. And they can smell you from like 20 feet away. But in much the same way, when we talk about other people, it's easy for us to, make fun of other people or look down on other people or find the bad things in other people or saying things like, you people are like this or these kinds of things. And when we do a check on ourselves, it's almost always this attitude of, it's not that bad. I'm not that bad. I can't be that bad, right? It could be worse. We always look at ourselves in a kind of much a better light. But as soon as it comes to someone else, we always think, bring out the lynch mob, or that person is bad for this infraction, this minor infraction that they did. We become very critical and very anal towards and highly scrutinizing of other people. Why is this? It's because, we like to put ourselves on a pedestal over others. In other words, because we are special in our own eyes over other people. Other people must get judged very meticulously, very strictly, but when it comes to this me, I suddenly become very lax in my own standard of judgment about myself. And this is what it means to be a bonbu, an ordinary person, as Shinran Shoni explains. A very popular Jodo Shinshu minister, Inagi Sensei, he passed away, he's long passed away, but he gives kind of a very funny example. What he says is that, he was a temple minister for a long time, and he says, it's very easy to be critical of a member of the temple, and then I think all these bad thoughts about the person, this person's annoying, or why do they ask me all these questions and these kinds of things. But as soon as this person makes a huge donation at Eitaikyo service, he's my best friend. He's like, oh, hey, where have you been? And he's like, all of a sudden very nice to this person, right? But he says that's the nature of the bonbu, that it changes instantly. In one little split second, it can change at the drop of a hat. They do one thing that's nice, and I think that they're my best friend, and I have good thoughts about them, but they do one little bad thing, and then all of a sudden, they're in the doghouse, and I think bad things about that person. My grandfather once said, he says that if you leave a political prisoner in prison for 3 days and you offer them a cigarette, they will be quick to change their political views after those 3 days. And so it just kind of goes to show the fickle nature that we have within ourselves, that we change from one thing to another constantly, and that's what it means to be a bonbu. But so going back to this point of not being able to smell ourselves, so far I've given you negative examples in the sense that, like our own bad breath, we cannot see just how much we are beings of blind passions. But interestingly, that is also the same for those who have truly come to find joy in the Buddha Dharma. That is, when we come to awaken to true reality, we cannot smell the sweet fragrance of the Buddha Dharma coming off of ourselves. But instead, we can smell the sweet fragrance of the Buddha Dharma coming off of other people. We cannot smell ourselves, but other people can smell us. In other words, we don't notice when we become true Nimbutsu practitioners, but others will take notice. We will never really know if we are truly authentic, but others will see this authenticity within us. I like to give you another example of this. Shinran Shoni, our founder, was always honest in his path. He was so honest with himself that we see it in his writings. And in one place he states the following: I am such that I do not know right and wrong and cannot distinguish false and true. I lack even small love and small compassion. And yet for fame and profit, enjoy teaching others, end quote. And so Shinran confesses to himself that he does not know right from wrong, truly. That he does not have even a small amount of love and compassion for others. He's not being fake here. He's not being facetious. He is not really thinking to himself that he's not trying to kind of be fake about this, right? He really feels this way. He's trying to say that his heart has moments of being fully filled with deceit and cunning. That he constantly calculates his how he deals with other people. And he treats himself better than others. And for this reason, he is a person of blind passion. In addition, he pretends to act like he knows everything. And he tries to teach others. He finds joy in this, right? in a cynical way. So when we read this, we see just how humble he was. He became this way because he encountered the teachings of Amida Buddha's great compassion. He was shown this true self in the light of Amida Buddha's wisdom. But for Shinan, he saw himself as nothing more than a bombu. Right? It's the people around him, right? The people that came after him that started to see how authentic he was, how truly humble he was, and how honest he was, and that he was as a spiritual teacher, he was the real deal. Right? We are the ones who can smell the fragrance of the Buddha Dharma coming off of Shinan Shan. We're living in the 21st century. This is 800 some odd years after he has died, and we still smell the sweet fragrance that he has left behind when we read his works, when we chant Shoshinye together, right? When we come together at these services. I'm reminded of our past bishop, Bishop Umezu, and he said these very interesting words. No truly humble person says to others, "Hey, I'm a humble person." Right? No truly humble person says to others, "Hey, I'm a humble person." Right? It's always other people that says that about that person, right? And so true humility is never truly recognized by the individual. It's the people around him that recognizes that. So as we continue to listen to the Buddha Dharma, the Nembutsu teaching and its benefits will slowly emanate from us. If we are honest in our approach, we will naturally and unpretentiously express great joy, humility, hope, and peace of the heart and mind. So let's continue to throw our mind's basket in the water of the Buddha Dharma, absorb the sweet fragrance of the Buddha, Amida Buddha's infinite wisdom and compassion, and become this Zen Koden that is talked about in the Nembutsu teaching. And with that, I'd like to close today's Dharma message. Thank you very much for your attention. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you, Sensei. That was a very, very good Dharma talk. I learned a lot. Thank you. Please stand for the closing gatha, Sambo no On, on page 234 in the purple book. Butsu.
Namo Amida 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 Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Are there any announcements? Thank you, Reverend Miyaji, for officiating our service and for your Dharma message today. Thank you to Daryl Yagi for setting up the Onaiji and ringing the concho. Thank you to Dr. Kent for playing the organ. And thank you to the December Toban for the flowers and offerings. Everyone is invited into the hall for refreshments as the December Toban will be serving stone soup. If you have not had a chance to Oshoko and wish to do so, please offer incense before beginning the honor. Thank you for attending today's Bodhi Day service.